introduction, but today I'm here to tell you my story. Before I start my story, let me ask you, how many of you were born before 1985? Okay. So now imagine, year 1985, a group of girls in a very small village in Bihar, carrying the books, going to school. And schools those time in that state, most of it was under the trees. And then there are so many distinguished men of the village sitting under the tree and discussing all those small things of their world. And when these girls started going on, making the comments, giving that looks, and then saying, what is the use of having these girls, education? Because the more they will get educated, it will become difficult to find a groom for them. If at the end, they have to do housework. Now think, what would have happened if one of that girl decided to break that invisible barrier and prove them wrong? So that girl, everyone, is standing in front of you. And I'm going to tell you the story. This is my village. A very small village. Maybe you can Google out also. In a district of Buxar, this village is called Chausa, where my early days and my early education were had. Now, in that village, education for girls was a rarity, especially the higher schools education. It was mostly the privilege reserved for the boys. For me, those starting days were like doing with the household course and then getting ready with my one pair of uniform that I had, slippers in my foot, and then carrying my tiffin bag and going to the school. And then also hearing those comments and the jokes of the people. And sometimes I used to think, why am I doing this? Is this all struggle for? All this doubt, self-doubt was there in that. But there was this inner voice within me, which always told me that Neelam, whatever may happen, I have to change that status quo. I cannot give up. I have to change this. I have to make myself out from this world and take it to the other side. This inner voice was so strong that all these barriers, the people saying, I could overcome that. My father heard, my parents heard that I have that zeal, that enthusiasm, that excitement for education, and then he got me admitted for the secondary schools in the city. In my community or my village, nobody before me could even do a high school. Girls. None of the girls in my family before me could complete their graduation. Because even the closest college was 250 kilometers away from that village during those 35 years back. When I did my higher school, I was one of the first girls to complete high schools. For me, it is not about that I have completed this. For me, it was also that I have to make that path for the other girls to follow it. And with this small victory of, doing that higher schools, I decided to pursue graduation. And then I took up mechanical engineering. Again, I'll tell you, 25 years back, mechanical engineering was not the field preferred by women or girls till that time. I remember, actually I got admitted as electronics and telecommunication first year. I shifted to mechanical engineering. That is how the story, and that is in the Pune University. So many people ask me, in fact, I was told by some of my colleagues, you are not going to get a job even if you complete this. So you made a foolish decision by shifting your branch. And it was like, I said, okay, let me try it, let me give it. For me, it was like, I am not going to give it. And this was very, very clear. I am going to make my choice. Why I took mechanical engineering is also, I'll tell you. It was more of, if I can see it, I can do it. So now you can relate my reason of choosing the mechanical engineering. And then I completed it with a gold medal from the Pune University, completed my post-graduation from IIMS Lucknow, and experienced MBA from Pune. The point was, every milestone in my journey, I was asked by people, why are you taking this? Why are you studying? Why are you choosing mechanical engineering? Or why are you doing this job? And for every whys of them, I asked myself, why not? Why not I should do it? Now, for me, it is not that I needed the voice of support. It is for me that I need to support myself. I need to be the cheerleader of myself. And that's that inner voice that kept on pushing me. Now comes to the second phase of the story. After my graduation, I joined corporate world. You heard all the companies in the organization I worked for. And I intentionally continued in the automotive and the energy sector. Again, I'll tell you, when I joined the organizations 22 years back, there used to be hardly any women on the shop floors. In fact, sometimes I used to be the only woman in the meeting of 80 or plus managers. And then it was like a different battlefield. So for me, it is like women can excel or women can do whatever the field they choose. I moved to senior leadership positions in the corporate world. And the last organization I worked as the board director for Healthcare in India. My life looked all perfect. Everything. All good positions, good salary, good setup, everything. And for people outside, it was all perfect. But I was not happy. I was not happy inside. You know why? Because, till the time I took that decision, it was more of breaking those barriers, breaking that glass ceiling, challenging the field, challenging the status quo, proving the people wrong, and doing making them wrong and excelling in the field. It was all about myself. Okay, I have to do this. I have to excel in the career. I have to take up this position. I have to take up that study. So as I said, for people it was all going good. For me, I was not happy. I remember, and this whole inner voice, this whole inner, whisper had started becoming a call of action. I remember there was a day I could not sleep in the night. 2.5 years back. And I was just thinking, okay, I could come out of that community. I could make a good life for myself. But what happened to the other people? What happened? Is there any other girl, boys from that community? Would they make it? What is the status quo there? If you know, today also, Bihar is one of the most poverty-stricken state. And for me, it was like, what did I do from the place I come from? How did I help anybody? So this whole thought, started sinking in me so deeply that it's not just one night. It was many nights that I spent like that. For me, it became now that I have to act. I just can't be enjoying the luxuries of life like this. And that's where I started and I took one of the biggest decisions of my life. I I decided to resign from my all well-paid and well-established job. Now, what happened next? So, with this inspired vision, because it was always like, what is the purpose of my life? Why am I exist like? Is it only for breaking these barriers or breaking the glass ceiling? That I had already done. It was no more proving people, challenging people. It was more finding the purpose of the life, which can make me more peaceful. And with that vision, I co-founded Rozgar Dhaba. Rozgar Dhaba is a platform which supports for job skilling, safe employability, and documentation supports for the rural youth in the remote villages, so that they can earn a respectable livelihood. And we do help them bridge the skill gap, so that not only their family, not only themselves, but also their families, they can live the whole livelihood. Not only this, in addition to Rozgar Dhaba, I also founded in social way a platform named YMA, the Women in Manufacturing. Now you can relate to why did I found that. So Women in Manufacturing is a platform dedicated for the women who work in the manufacturing sector, where they can network with the women of the same community. They can upskill themselves with the trends in the manufacturing sector. They can get mentor, they can get coach, and they can also get the right employability options as suited to their skill. Because when I was there, I realized, you need to have a mentor and a coach that helps you. Thing is, making a choice is important. For me, it is not about whether my venture succeed or fail. For me, it was about that if I don't want to stay with that guilt of not trying it or not doing it. And I remember telling this very clearly to the people that I don't want to go from this life with this guilt that I didn't try. Okay, let it be whatever it will be. What will happen? I'll fail, right? What worse could happen? But then I'll not go with the guilt that I did not try. Now, setting up these two ventures were difficult because again I faced the wise of people. I was told by the people that you made the most foolish decision of your life leaving the job. Why did you do that? Even today, people ask me, why did you do that? You are not going to get that comfortable lifestyle. Point is, for me, it is about my purpose of my life, which makes me more peaceful. It takes immense courage to stray away from the conventional path. Also, it takes immense courage to bear the consequences of those choices that we make, whether they are good or bad. Take the risk, make the choice. Every day when we get up, we make a choice, isn't it? All of you made a choice to come here today. So every day when we get up, we make a choice whether I have to go on or I have to close on. What your inner voice says you, what your inner voice tells you. You get on the boat, either you will sink it or you will swim it. Again, it will be a choice that you will make. Thing is, conscious gambit is not only about, taking risk. It's also about making a conscious choice. A choice that can help your life, make it more impactful, meaningful, and purposeful. And I believe that's the reason we all are here for.